Hello and welcome to the Coffee Club. I'm Linda Freehill with Gleam TV, and we're doing a coffee clutch with Pastor Marjorie Haynes and Pastor Greg Haynes of Hope TV. Hello. Pastors, tell us what leads you to the role of clergy.
Well, I've always, been close to God growing up, and I just felt that, even as a young person, that I was something I wanted to do, but it just has taken me a long time to actually become a pastor. However, we had been doing the online Bible study for like 8 years, for a long time. We've been doing that online, and then we put it on Hope TV.
Okay. Now, my journey was a little bit different. God called me many years ago, and I said, nope, ain't gonna do it, nope. Because being a clergy, being a pastor is not easy. People look at you, hold you to a higher standing, not understanding that you're human too, and you have a path that you're following. So for many years, I was like, no, and no, God, I'm not doing it. Well, God can be persistent. And he finally wore me down. And it's funny because the day I decided, okay, that's enough, I'm going to do it, because he said, you got something to say. And I said, well, okay, I guess we'll do this. I text Pastor Gregory here, and he's like, I'm taking classes to be a pastor. And he's like, me too. he independent, he had no idea I was doing this. He also was taking classes.
And were you all together at that time? Were you married?
We were married, yeah.
You were married,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have been, I have been fighting, like I said, for years.
Yeah.
Not to do this.
Yeah.
But God's persistent. If he wants you to do something,
Well, Satan was after you.
You are
Yeah.
going to eventually, you're going to do what he asks you to do.
Right.
And I've not been unhappy in doing that.
Good. You beat Satan.
Every day.
Thank God.
Every day.
Thank God. What denomination is your ministry?
Well, we're non-denominational.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're anybody. I mean, you can have your own religion, but you can still come and you can still talk to us about anything. We are open arms.
We are a all nations. Anybody can come. Our door is open to anybody. Believers.
This is online, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Online. I mean, they can come down here too.
Yeah.
And talk to us. Anybody's welcome. Believers, non-believers. If you want to, challenge us about anything or whatever, we're here. We're here. We'll try to work with anybody, But we all nations are welcome here. Everybody.
Every religion.
Every religion.
Even non-religious.
Even non-religious people.
Because you never know when you are exchanging ideas with people and questions with people, they may see things that are different than you did, and you go, well, that's it.
Come as you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why is your ministry just online?
Well, like I said, we started online Bible study, like this was years before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of churches in the town that we were in. And we didn't really want to start another church. And we actually was trying to bring the churches together. But, at that time it was different because people would say, well, you got to do this the way, that way. It's just kind of hard. But that's not what our goal. We was just trying to bring the churches together to figure out, like, can we stop, like the drug addiction, and what can we do just as a church community. And I think they're doing it now with the Street of Church out here. But That's what we're trying to do. But with our online Bible study, which we had before we were even doing that, what happened was we were getting a lot of people who have like questions that maybe I don't think the church want to answer, or whatever deal with, and we get like a lot of stuff. But we try to bring them, we try to bring them in, and we have a couple of people who were atheists, and now they're believing,
Hallelujah.
They've been with us for years and years, and I mean they've been back and forth, but so we deal with like a lot of those types of questions, and that maybe I don't think that would be so much with people out here.
I think if you privately talk to you or like my minister at my church or whatever, I think he would, and you would explain why they are atheists.
Well,
Why? Why are they?
well, a lot of people are questioning, especially at this time when there's so much unrest in the world.
Yeah.
They're not seeing that. We don't see but a little tiny piece of the picture. God sees the whole picture.
Yeah.
Sometimes
But
somebody's
how
gonna
do they
do
know?
stuff.
How do they think that we were born? We weren't hatched.
I know, but some people
Some
just
people
say,
think.
"Where's the biggest thing?" I think
Yeah.
with a lot of the atheists and with a couple of the people who I was working with that were atheists is that it's like all this stuff is going on, all this, where's God at, and but God, He delivers in His own time, and He has His plan, and that's the hardest thing for them to get past. All these wars, all this unjust and just, in the world, and I think that, and it's driving some of the people in the church away, because they're asking these questions too. We have people who said, "I've been in the church for 40 years, and I don't see things getting any better. Where's Jesus? Where's God at? But I don't think that they can go.
Where he's at.
Yeah, He's not here. They said He's not here helping the situation, but and I think that's why we do what we do, because I don't think they can't really. They could talk to us because we're not going to be judging them. They're not going to really. We don't really know who they are always.
True.
And they could just talk freely. It's just these are questions that I know if you go to the church. I know even when I was growing up, I asked my mother one time, "Well, who made God?" I was like 4 or 5, and she said, "Oh, don't you ever question God?"
Yeah.
But people, they have these questions about, like, where is God? Why is He letting all this happen? And so we try to, show them, that God is here. It's gonna rain. When it rain on everybody.
Yeah.
And so you have to be, you have to take shelter. You have to take cover. But it's just we're going through a period right now. It's like you're going through a season. You're going, you try to explain it to them, everything biblically. But a lot of churches may not. I don't think they may want to take the time to really to do that. And then some people say, "Well, how come you can't do anything as a Christian?" But a lot of things are not good for you. And I don't think. I think we can explain that a little bit better in churches. Like you shouldn't do this because it's not really good for your mental health. Drinking and all of that stuff is not good because when you drink, you could get in accidents. You can kill yourself.
If you drink
too much, you can, you may say something to somebody, that you shouldn't, and then you might regret it.
Yeah.
When you get drunk, when you're being a drunkard.
Well, and another reason why that we're online is for church. Think about it. It's a lot of pressure. You got to get there on time. You got to look a certain way, and there are churches who are like that. It's that, "Oh, come as you are," but just not in that outfit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This way, you're online. You can come in when you're ready.
Yeah.
You don't have to make a special trip. We're always here. It's not an organized religion. We're here as a source. You got a question, we can discuss that. You don't even have to get out of your pajamas. We can do that.
But we're not trying to tell people not to go to church.
No.
We tell them this to get back into their church because maybe you can help with other people who have these questions too.
By
to answer
talking
them.
with people
Yeah, by
while
talking
you're
with them.
there
So,
in church too.
and another thing, we don't ask for donations or anything like that. We don't do that because we want you to do that with your We want you to get
Right.
back into your own church and do that with them.
Right.
The only thing that we want people to do, mainly in the Streeter area, is at this year, starting this year, and for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, we want to give out turkeys and hams to people in need, and we encourage people to do good in their community and help the less fortunate, because that's what God really wants us to do. He wants us to be helping people who cannot help themselves.
Exactly.
You know.
And we all need help sometimes.
Right.
I mean, there shouldn't be any stigma.
I think you
Nothing.
answered my question on the outreach to the community.
Right.
I think you already
Pretty
answered
much.
that.
I mean, even if you come down, to the shop, and we've had some lively conversations.
Yeah.
God, the Bible says, as long as there are two of you, I'll be there. So we've had a lot of church.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize it because we're easy to talk to. So, we come on down, we'll talk. We'll try and get you resources that you might need. Believe it or not, there's quite a few resources. Pantries, places where you can get your rent paid. I'm sure there's people who would take you to and from doctor's appointments. Even if you set the Metcat, because it's easier now. We just talk to the
A
guy.
lot of community
There's-
help.
there is a
out
lot
And
of-
even your church, they have the
The
garden
garden.
there. Yes.
and the micro pantries. Don't they got
Yes.
two of them? They
Yes.
got one at the hospital
And one at the
and
church.
one at the church.
And they
So-
grow their own vegetables in the garden.
The only thing we ask, as always, if you receive help, give help.
Right. When you're able to
When you
give help
can.
back, return it.
Yeah.
We also have a store where you can go and get clothing or anything that you
So
are
there's,
in need of.
and then that's just one church. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah,
there's other churches.
several, I'm sure.
And we
there's
have the
different
Salvation
things.
Army, which is outstanding. They
Right.
do, they have
do
a
lot.
pantry. They have a
Mhm.
very reasonable. I mean, you can get like clothes for like, pennies or dollars.
Right, right.
Under $10.
And we have that fence, I
Yeah,
believe it's
that's
closed
right.
right now,
Mhm.
but,
The giving fence.
Yeah, the giving fence, and I think that's a good thing too.
Yeah.
Well, what surprises most people about the church community?
Well, I think what surprises most people, like in the town that we in, is like we were just saying, like how much compassion and help they are giving to the community at large. I think that surprises a lot of people, especially people who are critical of the church, what the church is not doing enough, but the church here in this town, and most churches that I know, they are doing a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Even like with the problem at the border with the immigrants, it's not their fault necessarily. Whatever the reason they coming in here, if they come in here to do good or bad, but the people at the border right now, they are having like a hard time. And like some of the church groups that we have been affiliated with and giving, they have gotten arrested because they said they were interfering with a government operation. They can't even give. So when people criticize the church, well, where's the church at? Where's the church? They out there, they're doing, but they are facing obstacles too. They just want to help the people because nobody wants to see any kid, no matter where they're from, starving and hurting, or people, they just want to help, but then, the government saying they're interfering with the government operations.
Right.
So, but the church is there. The church is fantastic. And you may not agree with all of their philosophy, but they are trying to help people and people in need. They really are. And I think that is the thing that I think a lot of people fail to realize.
Well, that and God is love.
Right.
And God is
God
love.
is love.
It's nice that you are online for people that aren't able to get out. That's nice. We have that at our church too. If you can't make it, there's so many times that I can't with my husband's conditions, but I do try to make it when I can, and I enjoy it because you are with other people and are getting strength from them as well as you giving them strength.
But we're not
So that's
trying to
kinda nice.
we're not trying to replace
Oh no.
the local church.
Oh no, we know
Because
that.
our viewership is like so
right.
it's so far beyond this town, you know.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
so far
Well, and
beyond
Well,
that.
it's wonderful. I mean,
That's
people
why
can
we
go
don't
online.
ask for donations, because we want you to help your church.
Right.
And
Because
your
they
community.
have a mortgage, they have heat and lights, they have, and these are all
Roofs.
things,
We need a roof.
right, these are all things we don't
Yeah.
necessarily have.
You don't have
You
to
know,
worry
so,
about it, and
um,
that's great.
That's why we
right.
encourage, find a church that, or visit many churches. And
Yeah.
you don't have to settle on just one church.
No.
And, if you don't like being in crowds, if you don't like meeting new people, we're here.
Yeah.
At least you're getting
Right.
church, you're getting
Right.
here,
Right.
you're getting the message.
Right.
And that's what's important.
And,
Whether it's from church or
exactly.
from here, you're getting the message.
And a lot of people, they can't get out even if they had a cab. I mean, they have like a lot of health problems. I know.
Disabilities.
I know it's
Yeah.
one lady, that she's been a lawyer, and she's now have this condition where she has to think to breathe, like we could just not, it's involuntary.
Right.
And so she can't really get out, she falls, she has blackouts and different things like that because she's forgetting to breathe.
So she can't go.
So she can't really go to a lot of places
So
and
thank-
stuff like that.
Thank,
And,
thank
we
God
have
for you people.
we have a lot of that, and and I was surprised when we started doing online, the people, all of the things that they were saying that they want to get out. I don't, I try to send my, my offerings and and tithes in or whatever, but they just are not able to get out. And then, some of these people, they do need visits. They need visits in their community. They
Right.
need visits from their churches and stuff too.
Nursing
But,
homes.
yeah.
And
Well, and then
whatever,
there's
yeah.
like the other spectrum too. Maybe you're a family who've got young children, and you don't want to disturb the rest of the church, but you still need the message. You still need your weekly
Yeah.
recharge.
Yeah.
And I know
And
you
that's
all
fine.
have daycare at
Yes,
your
yes.
church.
And some,
Yes.
but some don't. And
Many don't.
Children
Many
are
don't.
excused for the sermon. Yes, yes.
So
Do you want people of faith to know about the Holy Bible?
Okay.
I hope.
well, it's what do you want? And what I want you to realize, what you understand, is the Bible is a living book. Okay? God only revealed to you what you can handle. I have read the book, good book, 100 times, and got something new out of it every single time. Every single time. Because it depends on where you are on your path with God that you'll understand. I challenge everybody, if you having a problem, you go to the book. You open the book up, and there will be a verse that pertains to your particular problem.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's an amazing book, all right? But with the understanding, some of it's contradictory. Why? Because it's been translated and written by man.
Yeah.
Okay? So you have to kind of decide for yourself which appeals to you more, which is more to your soul when it's contradictory like that. It's been books have been taken out, books have been modified.
Yeah.
So all these things, and it's a history book.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like the Bible is a history book,
Yeah.
and it's also it's a book of faith. It's a book about prophecy, and it's also it's a book. A lot of it in the Bible is talking to nations, but it does apply to us too because we are members of these nations. But it's really talking about the heads of nations, governments, a lot of things. And people, when you read the Bible, you have to kind of like put it in those four categories or more. Some things is historical, and then other things is for the times. Like people say, well, they did this, we going back, but that's what they did. And because even Jesus said, well, he was celebrating the Sabbath according to the traditions,
To the times.
So
Yes.
of those times. So a lot of people they get things like, maybe a little confused. But if you put it in that context, I think. And so this is why we're having success online with people who don't believe because we say, oh, see, you're looking at it because that was just history. They were just saying like, this is what happened.
Yeah.
This is not what you should necessarily be doing. And then they do have end time prophecies, and then they have people. They even have prophets like who was saying throw these people, throw into the, the sea, but that was just maybe somebody, they was getting a butt kicked, in a war, and then they said that, but because God is love, he wouldn't necessarily.
And so many churches, it's the way they interpret.
Right, it's the interpretation.
You have to, when you take their interpretation in, and then you have to see, does it click with you?
Right.
All of it's not going to click with you, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I know, because when we started the radio station, before we even started this up in Ottawa, we had tried to get it out here, but we ran into a lot of obstacles. But anyway, we met with all of the churches. And your minister didn't come. We tried to get him to come, but we had like the Lutherans, the Catholics, the Seventh-day Adventists, the Baptists. We had a whole, and they was just arguing about stuff that wasn't what we were trying to do.
Little stuff.
They were all arguing about, well, should you be submerged or should you be sprinkled with water for baptism?
Out of everything in the whole good Bible, the whole good works, you're gonna zero in on how you should be baptized.
I mean,
there's a difference there.
Well, Jesus did say people should be baptized, but he said you should love more than anything else. So, and I think that's the problem. What I see in the world is like, when you're at war with somebody, that's not love. Mm-hmm. When you're not trying to help a kid or people who need help, that's hate. That's not what God would. What Jesus, he fed everybody. He didn't say, now how much did you make last year? You know what I'm saying?
The rich and the poor.
Just give. He helped everybody. Because you could be hungry. You could have $1 million, but if you at some place and everything closed and so I mean, you could still. Everybody could need help. You might be hungry. You might want to drink of water, thirst of water. So Jesus fed everybody. He didn't ask. Well, what was your income last year? How much, are you getting too much? We want to just help the needy, Jesus helped everybody. Jesus saved the rich, the poor, and everybody in between. He, and so I think a lot
life is God.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think people understand either, and there's a big stigma, and there should never be, about, there is such a thing as the working poor.
Yeah.
Okay? These people working a job just can't seem to make it. There's a lot of, because everything's more expensive. They've got children. Rent is outrageous. Utilities, and now we're seeing that there's generations living with each other. Sometimes you're not going to make it that week. You can't make it to payday.
You can talk to him yourself.
There's always help out there.
Make it right with the Lord, and
everybody needs help.
And couples are starting to move in together. Like people who retire, it's a certain type of housing that they buy a house or they rent a house, and then when they retire, it's just because you still, let's say, like if you lived in a area that was more affluent than Streeter, okay, and you pay for your house is all paid for, but some of the taxes could be like $30,000. So somebody has to go back to work or whatever, maybe, just to pay the taxes because, maybe it's a lot of taxes to pay on some. I know where we were living at, the taxes was very high before we moved, and now they're about $30,000 a year just for the taxes on your home. So you can own a home, but you can lose it, because you have these high taxes to pay. And so, back in 1975, which was almost 50 years ago, your rent was very low, or your mortgage was very low, like right around, not even $200, or maybe just a little over $200. So everything has went up, but people's income has not went up
to compensate
it. It's like,
yep, everybody needs a little help once in a while.
Well, what do you want people to know about God? You too.
God's got you. Yeah. Whenever you have a problem that you can't do nothing about, don't worry, God's got you. Okay? God will make a way. Now, He will give you all that you need. Some of what you want. But He's not going to give you stuff that you don't need and will hurt you. So don't be praying for a Maserati. No, you can't pray that way, but you can ask God, please God, I want to get to this this job interview, if you can make a way, you know, please. You always have to please and thank God, okay? Because without Him, we don't have anything.
Pray to the Lord to get rid of that monster that ever bothers you.
God is the way maker, just
Yes.
like, see, the 10 Commandments and all of that, what He was showing, you could be up against a rock in a hard place and He's going to make a way
He's
for
gonna
you.
make a way.
You know,
Always.
God will make a way. And He said, do not worry about anything. And people, they worried about who's going to be the next president and all of this. Don't worry about none
Let
of
it go. Let it go so you can grow.
Don't worry
have
about
faith.
none of that. You got to have faith because, He also said, don't put your faith and hope in princes of this world because they cannot save you.
Nope.
Don't put that is in the scriptures.
Don't.
That is in the scriptures. Do not put your hope. So don't worry about this. Well, this is worldliness. You know, when I grew up, the way I grew up in the church, my mother said, don't worry about that. That's the world. And I'm like, what do you mean that's the world? We live in the world. She said, well, what I mean is that that's not of God. It's not, you know, it's man. God He's going to deliver us. He's going to deliver us in His time. You know, don't worry about anything. We don't worry, like people be saying, you know, it's like when we was trying to get this shop open here, and people, I'm like, just don't worry about it. Don't. If you want help, you're gonna help. If you're not, you're not. You know, if people they're gonna be late, they're supposed to be here at a certain time, and they're not here. Just don't worry about it.
Let it go.
Just let it
Well,
go.
and that's okay. True story. We had a beautiful house we built in Aurora. Beautiful house. We loved the house. We were both working in and around. He was working in the city. We both had really good jobs. Took one accident, and we had to sell. Thought it was the worst thing in the world. Oh my God, I was so distraught
Yes.
because we had built this to it was our dream house. We had built it to our specifications, and we had to sell it. You fast forward 20 years. And here we are. We have a successful business. We have
A great ministry.
a great ministry. We have Gleam TV that does a lot of work for the community. You know, we have a beautiful home. It is just to show you that I never in a million years would have thought this would be the business that I have. Nowhere even near my wheelhouse. But this is what God showed me to do. And we're successful. So you can never tell, you could be the worst thing in the world, you think it's the worst thing that could possibly happen, and then you see it a year or two later. God's got something for you. So He never shuts the door without opening a window for you. You know, He's got you. You just got to believe you got to have faith.
And then
He's got you.
another thing, what I want people to know about God is that no matter who is trying to pour salt on you or who is trying to do you in or you know wish you well, you know, wish you wrong, you know, don't worry about it. God got you because you know what happened when people do that. God opened up more doors for you.
Yup.
He do. He opens up more doors for you, and also, it's people who I know that you might have helped, and then they want to do bad to you. Like in the Bible talks about that. Don't do bad for somebody who done good to you, but God will give you a blessing. All of the people that's doing like you know, poking and you know and wishing you well, wishing you bad, wishing bad luck on you. God is going to bring you up.
Don't talk behind your back.
Let them go.
You know,
Let it go.
Let it go because, you know.
God is bringing you up because He's trying to show them something. He's trying to show them that, you know, don't wish people bad. You know, anybody who want to come do anything, we try to help.
Yep.
You know, we don't wish bad for bad. Don't wish bad for good. You know, somebody do. You know, it's like I don't wish bad on anybody. You know, anybody who's going through anything. You know, you know, even you know, we're not political and everything like that. But even our former president, I do not wish bad on him either. You know, we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. But what I do wish is, forgiveness, repentance is a thing too.
You're right.
God's got your back. Everybody can run around and say all they want to behind your back, and they don't seem to understand you can't tear asunder what God has already deemed for you. Okay?
Yes.
The more somebody puts stuff in your way, the more you're going to just bust through those and be successful.
And especially if you're a person of God, if you are faith, God is going to just open more doors and more doors, and and He's going to make it happen for you.
Yep.
But
He is our Father.
He's got your good intentions. He's the one. He wants you to do good.
Yes.
He wants you to love people. He wants you to do good. He wants you to be successful.
Right.
And if you're not getting that way, maybe you need to sit down and say, what do I need to do, Lord?
You have to make a relationship with Him.
Exactly.
Yourself.
And you don't have to, it doesn't have to be, you can pray anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
You can pray out in public. It don't make no difference.
And then I did do a little sermon about prayer. Like, prayer is just really talking to God.
Talking to God.
It really is, but it's being kind of respectful too, And Jesus gave an outline, in Matthew's on how to pray to God. But it's just talking to God. God, I know I did wrong, but forgive me today.
And that should be on everybody's mouth right there, because we sin every single day.
Everybody does. I don't
care who
if
you
they're
are.
pastors,
Forgive me, but make me do better.
whatever.
He wants to know in your heart, like, are you trying to do better? Because we got to try. We cannot be the people who are not trying. We have to try to do better.
Exactly.
But God just want to hear from you. No, Lord, I did wrong. But then, some people, they do wrong and then they want to make it seem like you did something wrong too. And
I've never sinned any in my life ever.
Yeah, and I know somebody.
Yeah, you did. You just did right there.
Yeah. So,
Like Mr. Will, he's never done anything wrong.
The only angel among us, there is Mr. Will.
Yeah.
so
He's the only one.
We gotta throw him in there.
But people who want to, I am more of a Christian you are.
You too.
There is no
saved
such
too.
thing. You're saved too. No, there's no such thing as I'm a better Christian than you are. You're either Christian or you're not.
Yeah.
There is no degrees of, I'm going to get into heaven because I'm a better Christian than you.
They all have their interpretation of what they believe religion
But
is.
God wants
That's
you to.
why we have all these different.
Yep.
But God wants us to try when we make mistakes, because we've all fallen. But He wants us to try. He don't want you to like you just curse somebody out and I curse them out and I feel good. You know what I'm saying? No, you don't. You shouldn't feel good.
No.
You should say, you know what?
You made that mistake.
I was angry and what you did, it really hurt me. But it was wrong for me to curse you out like that. I'm sorry. Or somebody come in and scream at you like the day before they wanted you to do something, and then you go over there the next day and then they, curse you out, and then they lie about it and say, well, you would no for an answer,
I would say,
Yeah.
I'm letting you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you have to let that stuff go.
I
Just
truly
period.
believe in that.
And so
Let it go.
There's nothing
and
you
let
can do about
grow.
And so what I want to say before we go, if anybody else wants to say anything, that's up to them. But what I want to say before we go is about forgiveness. And I was going to do a whole sermon on that. I probably still will. But people have said, well, what people say forgiveness all the time. Well, what does it mean? Do it mean that you forgive and then you forget, or do you go back to? It just depends. It depends on who. If it's your spouse, it's different. It could be. It could not be. If it's your family, it could or could not be different. But forgiveness don't necessarily mean like you in business with somebody and they stole all the money. You can forgive them, but it don't mean you go back into business with them again.
Yeah.
You just kind of move on. It could be you move on or you go back, or it just depends.
Forgiveness is for you.
It really is for the person.
Yes.
It's for the person who's been wrong.
But that's again, you're trying to make it right with the Lord.
Right.
And there's always a reason for things. There's always a reason for things. Always.
You know, and what I know, we don't look at a lot of court shows from like other countries, but I have. And then like when you go to places in other parts of the world, when, okay, let's say for example somebody murdered your son or your daughter, you know, and you're very angry and you want justice, but you know what they do? If they have, we don't really have, I think we have it a little bit, but they have reconciliation right in the court where the two sides, they hug and they forgive each other. And we don't have that over here so much, you know, where
It's tough.
it's reconciliation.
It's a tough thing.
It's tough. But they want you to do that in court. And it's hard, and that's why you should do it. That's why you should forgive, because it's hard, but it's the right thing. And it brings love back into the world, you know, and it just doesn't keep the hate going
It's
on.
just
Because it isn't the Lord that did it.
No,
Right.
but
Not the Lord that committed the crime.
But you know, when you retaliate, you're just prolonging
Right.
the problem and
the hurt.
and the hurt, and it's something, you know. Yeah, sure, we've all been done dirty before.
Yeah.
Everybody, there's been somebody somewhere done something that hurt your feelings, or stole something from you, or you know, any of that. But you've got to let it go, and you got to let it go, and just realize that person, they did that. You know, they must be suffering.
Yeah.
You know, they must be hurt. You know, I'm sorry that
Then they
that's
need to
how
make
they
it
do
right with the Lord.
You know, that's
But
their journey.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that you know, like, okay, it's like, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go back to it being the way it was.
No.
You know, but you forgive, and then a lot of times people do need to move on, especially with people you don't know that well, you know. You can forgive them and move on.
Yeah.
Especially like in business, if you're going to business with somebody and they steal all the money or whatever, you know.
Or they just do things that you didn't realize they would do.
Yeah.
You know, you don't agree with.
Put all the utilities in your name.
Well, just you need to
There's always a
get
solution.
you need to get out of the situation and
Sure.
then move on. I don't think
Let
you
them
should,
go.
Right. I don't think you should. You know, try to get even with them. I mean, I know it's hard for people to
People
do.
want to do that.
Because they want justice. Well, no, you
Yeah.
don't want justice. You want revenge, and let God fight
So,
that battle for you.
sometime
let God
with-
do that.
With justice, like if somebody stole, if they got the money, you know, you can seek that, but a lot of times, you know, you can get your justice in court. You could try it, but a lot of times, if somebody stole all the money, that means something is wrong. They got an addiction
They
problem. They
need
don't have the
something.
money, you know, or they going through some other personal financial hardship. So
Well, and I've had being in a retail setting for many years. I've had things stolen from me, and I always think, you know, it's always, you know, it hurts because I make my own products. But on the other hand, maybe that person needed that, and if they needed that bad to steal it, they're more than welcome to it. You know, that don't mean when you come in the next time I'm not going to be eyeballing you.
Yeah.
You know, but if you needed that bar of soap that badly that you had to steal it, that's okay. You take
Wash
that.
yourself with it.
You take that.
and wash your mouth out with it. Too.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you want to say, either one?
I think we pretty much covered it.
You did.
covered it.
Yes, very good job. That's it for the coffee club. It's been great coffee clutching with Pastor Marjorie and Pastor Greg. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.